Right now, somewhere in the world, a mosquito is choosing between you and the person standing next to you. And it isn't random. Roughly 1 in 5 people are bitten far more than everyone around them, night after night, for reasons scientists only fully cracked in the last 2 decades. Your ancestors lived that unfairness every single night, for 200,000 years, with no idea why some of them were being eaten alive while others slept untouched. So, what made a person a target? And what did the ones who kept getting bitten actually do about it? Start with the target itself. In 2022, neuroscientist Leslie Vosshall and her team at Rockefeller University tracked exactly how mosquitoes choose a victim. The answer wasn't blood type, and it wasn't sweetness, whatever your grandmother told you. It was skin chemistry. Certain people release higher levels of specific fatty acid compounds in their sweat, and mosquitoes can detect that chemical signature from meters away, riding a plume of carbon dioxide straight toward it. In other words, some ancestors were walking targets before they ever left the cave, and they had no idea why. Now push that back 200,000 years to a place called Border Cave in South Africa. In 2020, archaeologist Lynn Wadley's team pulled apart the layers of the oldest known human bedding on Earth. Grass mats, pressed flat by centuries of sleeping bodies. But underneath, something unexpected. Fine layers of ash, and shredded leaves from a plant called Cryptocarya woodii. That plant is naturally insecticidal. It doesn't just smell strong, it kills or repels biting insects on contact, which means someone, generation after generation, was rebuilding that bedding on purpose. Fresh ash, fresh leaves, a living pest control system, remade every few weeks, long before anyone understood a single thing about insects or disease. That single detail tells you something important. This wasn't luck. It was accumulated knowledge passed from a parent to a child who had no idea they were doing science. But bedding could only do so much. The real nightly defense was fire. Fire changes a mosquito's odds instantly. Smoke masks the carbon dioxide plume a body gives off, the very signal Vosshall's mosquitoes were trained to chase. It scrambles the target. Groups that slept close around a shared fire weren't just staying warm. They were diluting the risk. More bodies means more competing scent trails, which means any single person is statistically less likely to be the one chosen out of the crowd. Sleeping in a cluster wasn't only about companionship or safety from predators. It may have been one of the oldest, quietest forms of biological math your ancestors ever practiced without a single one of them doing it on purpose. And still, some people were bitten anyway, which brings the story to its strangest turn. Mosquitoes weren't just uncomfortable, they were, and still are, the deadliest animal in the world by body count, mostly through the malaria they carry. In 1954, geneticist Anthony Allison worked out why the sickle cell trait shows up so heavily in populations from malaria-heavy regions. It isn't a mistake in human biology, it's a trade. Carriers of one copy of the trait gain real resistance to malaria at the cost of health risks if they inherit 2 copies. Think about the scale of that for a second. A mosquito small enough to land on your arm without you noticing helped rewrite the genetic code of entire populations, over thousands of generations. That is not a minor irritation shaping human history in the background. That is one of the most aggressive selective pressures our species has ever faced, delivered one bite at a time. So the fight against mosquitoes wasn't a side note in prehistory. It was a constant, unglamorous, generation-spanning war, fought with ash, smoke, crowded sleeping circles, and eventually, evolution itself, stepping in where behavior wasn't enough. Fast forward to 1946. American chemists working for the U.S. Department of Agriculture were testing insect repellents for soldiers headed into mosquito-heavy jungles. What they landed on became DEET, still the most effective repellent sold today. Look at what actually changed between that ash-covered sleeping mat and the bottle in your bag. The chemistry got precise. The delivery method got convenient. But the underlying goal never moved an inch. Mask your scent, break the chase, survive the night. You are still fighting the exact same enemy your ancestors were, using a more refined version of the exact same idea they had 200,000 years before any lab existed. So the next time a mosquito seems to find you specifically, While it leaves the person beside you completely alone, remember what that actually means. It isn't bad luck. It's chemistry, honed by millions of years of evolution on both sides of that hunt. And somewhere behind you, in an unbroken line stretching back 200,000 years, someone who shared your exact vulnerability found a way to survive the night anyway. That fight chose you before you were born, and it's still choosing you tonight.